always got to make sure that I bring clarity, because there's certain things that we know in the West that you're familiar with that I got to make sure that you see what's going on from the books in stone. Like, for instance, when we talked about, most of us know about Genesis. Most of us know about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay? And the Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But that tree was the tree of Ma'at, of truth, justice, and righteousness. And because she ate from this tree of good and evil, then that's the misogyny. That becomes the hatred for the female gender. I asked some of y'all to come down here because there's a lot of room, but we always stop right here. So again, we say that that is the misogyny, or the hatred for women in the Western world. Even Pandora's box symbolized that the evils of the world happened when Pandora's box opened up, and that became the evils of the world. But most of us know it also through the Genesis story. That is misogyny. Those scribes who were writing that had a hatred towards the female because they were patriarchs. They were coming from the north, down on the African spiritual matrilineal system that was based off of the goddess that Mary Ra showed you in her lecture. The Kemet, the foundation of Kemet, rests on the African goddess. And it was through the womb that you saw Norma carrying the placenta and that procession that I showed on that palette way back when we did the lecture back on the in the Cairo Museum, remember? And why is he holding that placenta? To validate that he's coming from an African Kemetic womb. That was the power of the African womb. But again, the corruption of the tree of Ma'at, of truth, justice, and righteousness, that Asar and Aset had to eat from the tree of Ma'at, truth, justice, and righteousness, just like I showed you with Shishat, giving the fruit of knowledge from the tree of Ma'at that we showed you at Ramesseum, the temple of 1,000,000 years. So that spiritual idea is everywhere. So up above me, you see the tree of life. Right above my head, straight up. Okay? Right. But the only thing you get in the Western world is pictorial images and representation of what they stole from here. They can't validate that on no temples. Of all these things that they tell you, and whether it's in the Genesis story or whether it's in the biblical Old and New Testament. Just like I showed the dancing car. Everybody, they were like vultures. Everybody came in and picked what they wanted in the formulation of their Western version of Christianity. And if you didn't want to know this knowledge, you should have went on to Jerusalem and walked on the red rug that hasn't been worn down in 2,000 years. You walked up the steps and you saw the how worn those steps were when we were at the temple of Heru, didn't you? They were slippery. So that's millenniums of walking. But when you come back here, we see that you came back here for mental and spiritual liberation, because this is knowledge. This is knowledge to know. Now, of course, if one wants to believe, then there's a lot of places in the world you can go with your belief system, and they say this, that, and the other. But this is all based off of the facts from the books in stone that were here thousands of years ago, as we continue to say that. And we say that because we know that there are brothers and sisters here that have a spiritual ancestral doorway that has opened up. And there are some of us who are here that's still fighting it. They're still fighting it because this thing has been put down into our psyches for 400 years. So I understand that. But again, until you can show me, okay, the facts of what you've been taught to believe outside of their religious dogma, okay, then like taking you through temples like this, then let's go there. Show it to me. They can't show you nothing at all. Nothing. But I can show you through a dialectical laws of opposites. I can show you through the whole spiritual critical analysis, like a middle court of law. If somebody's stealing something, you put it in a court of law. Is that right? You see Exhibit A and Exhibit B. If this knowledge was in a court of law and you showed all the evidence, the Western world and the Western religions would not be able to stand, because it'd be obvious that they stole these things from here. Now, some of us probably saw the brochure and said, I'm coming on this trip because of a Nile cruise. Yeah, we had that for you too. Yeah, but also some of you came on the trip because you thought maybe, we're just going to have a good time. No, we're going to have all that too. But at the same time, we're going to come here to know thyself. That's what it's all about.